Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Session Zero. Was that right, Cal? Did I get the timings right? Was that good?
You correctly went on the word go this time, which is...
That's all we need.
That's all we wanted.
That's all I trained for years. When someone says go, I start speaking. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Session Zero, an episodic weekly Dungeons and Dragons game featuring myself, Josh Dreyfus, as your Dungeon Master, and three fantastic YouTubers as their fantastic characters. For anyone who is new to the stream, let's just go through a brief introduction of all of the characters, and then we'll get into tonight's adventure, which is the start of a rather dark storyline, a kind of dark, psychological, religious storyline that I think is going to take us to some pretty interesting places. To start off with, we have the beautiful Rage Darling. Rage, tell us a bit about yourself and about your character.
Hello, my name is Rage Darling. I'm an MMORPG content creator, and for Session Zero, I play a Barbarian character called Rage. She is a hot-headed, socially awkward masterpiece that is slowly starting to develop as the episodes have gone by. She slammed a guy's face into a wall, picked me over probably another good decision, and just, yeah, all around is just like the walking ADHD toddler for this entire buy.
Rage was indeed raised in a barbaric lifestyle, and that's all she knew, but I think over the last couple of weeks she has been exposed to more society, both high society and low society, and ways of dealing with problems that maybe aren't just raging and smashing everything. Do you think that Rage as a character is slowly starting to adapt to this world that was maybe quite alien to her at the start?
She has two fellow party members that are completely different to who she is. She has Sourceress Trixx, who's raised in high nobility with a lot of manners and a lot of certain views about society that's completely different to what Rage knows. And she also has Bard Callum, who is heavy into charisma and entertainment, who brings that charm that barbarians that she knows never had and is not exposed to whatsoever. So she's starting to become a bit of a... because she's exposed to two different types of non-normalities, she's starting to pick up different things. I do like the fact that she calls, what is it, peasants? That was it.
Yes.
Whenever she tries to blend in with nobility, she calls everyone peasants.
Yeah, Rage is starting to pick up and become the amalgamation of the behaviour of both a high-class sorceress and a low-class bard, all blending together and becoming a more fully fleshed out character, which I'm excited to see, and that's going to be essential in this adventure, because this is not only going to be a fight, it's going to be an investigation, it's going to be discovery, it's going to be stealth, it's going to be, I'm hoping, a pretty complex one here. I'm looking forward to this. Billy, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your character?
Hello, I'm Billy, and currently I'm known as the girl on TikTok that makes really random Skyrim videos. So Sourceress Trixx. Okay, she is of nobility, but also she's got some, I want to say rough and tumble to it. She's got some coarser edges to her. She doesn't always make the best decisions, even though she's really trying. She is the more thoughtful of the group in terms of trying to be more tactical and thinking things through. However, accidents happen. She is very accident prone. It's not her fault. It's just how she is.
I think Sourceress Trixx understands that you can't always fight everything and you can't always charm everything. So there is a time when magical enhancement is definitely needed, and there is a time when a well-placed fireball into a very small enclosed room is definitely the right course of action, but it's not always the first course of action.
Show him the t-shirt.
Show
him the t-shirt!
I didn't ask how big the room is, I said cast fireball. That is a very accurate t-shirt for exactly how you deal with most of the problems. I look forward to this. Billy, are you able to turn your volume up slightly on your microphone?
Yeah, I was just going to ask.
Turn it a little bit up, but I don't want it to
There we go.
go too gainy.
Billy is doing ASMR D&D now. Just whisper everything gently into the microphone. That's what we're doing.
And
last but not least at all, Callum, would you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your character?
Yeah, I am the drunkard of the party. I am the bard also. That's my second title, obviously. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. I have my trusty flute, which is somewhere in the pile of junk from reorganising. Yeah, this is my weapon of choice. I'm the comedy relief of the party, you know, got to keep everybody going.
The comedy relief doesn't always work when one of your main go-tos is stab the problem in the face with a flute, which has been surprisingly effective for a surprisingly large amount of problems. Even though you aren't necessarily built as a melee physical fighter, you've definitely found your footing as a close-range kind of rogue, thief, bard-style character, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, my problem solving in the past was really just, as you can tell by the blood stains on the flute, was literally just stab anything in the face with a flute. But I've started to realise that I can just kind of hang back and, wait until it really escalates. Then use my axe.
Yeah. When there is a fight, Rage is right there in the front lines, smashing things with a massive hammer and taking all those damaging blows onto her. Billy is definitely manipulating the magical energy, moving objects around, casting fireballs, slowing things down, icicle things as and when she needs to, casting magical shield to protect everyone. When it all kicks off, Cal, what's your go-to move?
I'm here to inspire the party. Honestly, I'm not much of a fighter. I usually try.
More of a lover than a fighter. And thankfully you have done some more healing recently, which has been very...
Yeah.
Thank you for not letting us die.
Yeah, I've realised my role as support is much more important than me off on my jollies just fluting everybody, which I usually save for when we're at the pubs.
It's a lesson that every bard learns at some point in their life, that your party does require your support, not your endless fluting of other NPCs.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we've learned that now. Now, the adventures we've been on before have all been episodic, as in they happen every single week, and if you miss the previous week, it doesn't matter. If you miss the next week, it doesn't matter. It's just the adventure for now. This adventure, however, might be slightly different. This is a long adventure I have planned. This may take, I think, 2, possibly 3 sessions, depending on how smart the party are. I'm thinking we aim for 2 sessions specifically. This is the first time that the Adventurers Guild, the illustrious group you're all part of, has actually called upon you specifically. Ooh. As while you've been adventuring around the land, over the mountains and hills, through the woods, across the valleys, through the various small villages and cities and towns and outposts that you've seen, and just journeying around trying to find food, trying to find money, doing little odd jobs as and where you can, a raven landed at the camp you were at, and attached to its legs was a summons with the Adventurers Guild's seal on it, simply calling you to the coastal city of Neverwinter. You are required to answer the summons from Henry, your Adventurers Guild contact. He said he's based in a small building on the outskirts of the city, outside of the city walls. You know this is likely true, as the Adventurers Guild do build most of their outposts outside of the city walls in order to make sure they're not caught up in local bureaucracy and to allow them to operate independently. Rage, you've been adventuring freely for a while, but the Adventurers Guild is required, your membership is required, to allow you to travel around freely. You don't do too well under authority, though. How do you feel being called by the Guild for the first time for an official assignment?
Oh, they've obviously not seen our track record, which is quite nice. Word doesn't travel too far, but I feel like we've got to be on our best behaviour now, because we're being actually monitored by the big boss upstairs, and that's kind of scary.
Billy, how do you feel being summoned by the Adventurers Guild to actually undertake an assignment that they believe is important?
This is exciting. This is the whole reason we joined the Adventurers Guild in the first place. So it's about time this happened, to be honest. And I don't know why they haven't called us sooner.
You're kind of irritated that it took them this long to get to you.
Yeah.
Excellent. And Callum, you've been summoned by the Adventurers Guild. How do you feel?
I mean, this is our big calling. This could be the big moment for our little party of 3. I'm excited. This could be make or break for us.
The summons was pretty simple. You are to meet your contact, a man named Henry, in a building outside of Neverwinter. Neverwinter is about an hour's ride to the east, and thankfully you have some horses that you picked up from the last town you visited through. They gave you the horses in thanks for your help of the town. Rage, can you remember what it was you did to help the town and what you got the horses for?
No.
That's okay. Billy, what do you think your party may have done? Rage, just to confirm, you didn't actually do anything last week? This is just me giving you the chance to...
Right.
Hang on. This was me giving you the chance to make up an adventure that had happened, but I really like the idea that your character just completely forgets why they have horses. Like, Why are these here? I don't know what we did for these. Billy, you can remember what you did though, can't you?
Yeah, last week it was quite an easy one, to be honest, and the horses were a bit of an overpayment, but that's kind of all they had really to give us. They're not really a gold sort of place. So we went and cleared out a couple of goblins that were kind of just like hanging around, disturbing the peace, and trying to steal everyone's left shoe.
Rage, is it coming back now? The left shoe goblin adventure.
Yes.
Remember what happened when the goblins tried to steal
Also, the
everyone's...
horses are called Hey There, Delilah.
Yes. So you've got Delilah, Hay, and There, the names of the horses. Callum, how do you find the goblin left shoe adventure went last week?
I mean, it was interesting. Watching an entire battalion of soldiers march into battle on one foot was just incredible. I would happily watch that again.
I think they stole their left shoe, not their left foot. Are they hopping into battle?
Yeah.
How much did you drink last week?
Don't forget the mud. It was really muddy. So, like, watching them all just hopping into battle was incredible. I would pay to watch that, but I didn't have to. They paid me to watch that, so it was great.
But thankfully you were able to defeat the left shoe stealing goblins, get everyone's left shoes back, sort the town out good and proper, and in thanks they gave you some food, they gave you some money, and they gave you some horses, didn't they, Rage? They did. Remember the adventure? It was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really fun.
It was really fun. And now that you are riding, you've probably got maybe another 15 minutes riding to go. Rage, is there anything that worries you about working under the authority of the Adventurers Guild, knowing that they'll be keeping a close eye on your behaviour?
I'm really going to have to put my big girl pants on, aren't I, Billy?
You are, and you can't be just saying things out loud. You need to have internal thoughts as well. We need to work on that.
How do you have internal thoughts?
Okay, see what you just did then? Just don't say it out loud. Just to yourself, inside. Yeah, do you know what? I'll take it. It's close enough.
Okay, so Rage, is your character not going to have an inner monologue, but when they need to have an inner monologue, they just mumble to themselves, assuming nobody else can hear it?
Yep.
Excellent. Callum, are you feeling confident to take on this adventure with Rage and Billy?
I don't think confidence the word. I mean, after the last adventure, we, in more ways than one, got off on the wrong foot. However... sorry.
You're leaving behind.
However, I'm slightly optimistic. Rage has definitely got better at controlling that inner monologue. She's just not quite there yet.
The horses glib-clop along the outside dusty path. Neverwinter is a huge coastal city, and you can see the main road in and out of the city is always busy with carts and merchants and trundling people in and out. There's what looks like the circus is in town, slowly filtering in, and then more people filtering out. Some carts covered in weapons, some covered in bread, some covered in cloths and linens. It's a busy trading town. The large walls all the way around the side, making it pretty safe from any attack. And then as you are kind of riding around the edge, you can see a smaller building made of shabbier stone, almost butting out from the outside wall, almost like an extension that's just been tacked on. And above the rather ornate carved wooden door, you can see the AG logo of the Adventurers Guild, and you know that these are the people who authorise you to travel around. Standing out the front of it is a man with a brown leather coat on, sharpening the blade of a curved axe with a whetstone in his hand. And as you ride closer, he simply stops and looks up over at you. You're a bit too far away to shout yet, but he thinks he recognises you and waves over to you. Rage, what do you do? Adventurers Guild.
Yes.
Excellent. I'm Henry. You got the message I sent?
Yes.
Fantastic. Come in. He's one more final slice of the axe head to make it nice and sharp. He puts the whetstone into a leathered pocket and then walks inside the relatively small building. He motions to you to hitch up all of your horses on the outside hitching posts, and then he himself goes in. Rage, have you ever dismounted or hitched up a horse?
I've definitely hitched. You know what? Let's not. No, we usually walk on feet, to be honest. But I've watched Billy do it a couple times, so I know what I'm doing.
Okay, so you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Roll a d20.
For God's sake. Oh. That's a 4.
You jump off the horse, and you can see there is a wooden post in front of you, and you have hold of the reins. Would you please describe to me the exact knot you are going to attempt to use to secure the horse to the hitching post?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna grab the rope, and in my head, I'm gonna think back to when Billy tied up a horse to a rod that looked like this, and then just kind of do it exactly like she did it. But instead, I just kind of go like this.
You just loop the
Yep.
the rope around the hitching post. Thankfully, the horse, remarkably smart, simply looks at you and then looks at the rope, realizes what you wanted to do, and decides to just stand still.
Good boy.
Billy, how are you doing with jumping off and then hitching up a horse?
This is fine. We get taught this at home. This is like just school stuff.
So you know what to do. You've hitched a horse before. This is totally fine for you. You managed to jump off your horse. You've got all your stuff with you, and you tied up to the hitching post nice and smart. What do you think about Rage's job of doing it?
Do you know what? She's not a horse person. I'm surprised she hasn't tried to eat it yet. So it's all right.
Yeah, she's done well.
Yeah.
And Callum, how are you riding a horse? Are you familiar with riding horses?
I have never ridden a horse at all, ever. I've never ridden anything. So, like, I approach hanging off to the side, one leg just, like, hooking onto it. And as we arrive, I just fall off.
Roll a d20, would you, Cal? Just don't roll a 1.
So I've just rolled a 1.
Jinx.
Callum, you have arrived at the Adventurers Guild, slipped off the side of your horse, and knocked yourself unconscious on the ground.
Yeah.
Your character is not going to be aware of anything that happens for the next 20 minutes, as they are not going to have any short-term memory. So, Rage and Billy, you now need to remember everything that happens in the small building, and then fill Callum in when he is kind of aware.
Sentient again.
I see that he like has knocked himself out, so I kind of just like lean him up against something so he's not like totally disorientated when he wakes up.
Callum, I want you to understand the Adventurers Guild have summoned you for a mission, and the first thing that this Henry dude has seen you do is just slide off your horse and slam your face onto the floor.
Yeah, I mean, I've never ridden a horse. It was to be expected. It
Callum,
is
can
what
you
it
please
is.
take 1 damage?
Yeah, I can.
Callum attempts to hitch the horse up before you realise that he's slightly concussed, and Rage and Billy, you just see him effectively holding the rope and just twirling it around in the air. A good 3 or 4 metres away from any of the hitching posts. Billy, do you want to give him a hand?
Yeah, I just sort him out. It's okay. Just go inside.
Yeah,
Go sit down.
I'm gonna go sit down for a minute. My head's spinning.
Callum, roll a d20.
Oh no. That's an 11.
You just about are able to work out where the door is to this small building and stumble your way through. Rage, you've seen Callum stumble inside. Are you going to follow?
Yeah, and I'm also, just to make sure that he doesn't stumble into a wall or anything, I'm just going to put my arm around his shoulder to kind of just like guide him in where he needs to go.
Brilliant. You're okay. You're safe. You're ready. Billy, are you feeling confident that these are the 2 people who are going to take you to success in your adventuring career?
They've got me this far.
They have got you this far. Do you walk into the building following them?
Yep.
Inside the building, it's quite nicely lit. There's red drapes on the walls, there's a lovely kind of thick carpet on the floor, there's ornately carved wooden furniture. It's only one big, large room with a desk at one end and papers scattered all over it, shelves of books around the side, swords and weapons hanging up, and then a couple of keys on some key rings hanging all around the place. A fire in the corner, and a smaller side table with meat and ale on it. It's homely. It's nice, it feels comfortable, it feels well lived in and well cared for. And sitting on one of the larger wooden chairs is Henry, your contact, wearing his long brown leather duster coat and the axe he was sharpening simply standing on the wall next to him. As he walks in, he stands up to greet you and holds out a big manly hand to shake yours with and goes, "Lovely to meet you, I'm Henry." Callum, he goes to try and shake your hand first. I see. Is this a greeting that I am unfamiliar with? Are you from distant lands?
I've just hit my head.
Is
Horse.
I've hit my head, horse.
Yeah.
I see. We'll get you a soft helmet. You, sorceress woman. I am Henry. It's lovely to meet you.
Pleasure to meet your acquaintance.
Holds out his hand, and you give a nice hearty handshake, and then Rage, he turns to you. Lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you.
Shakes hand. You step back, and he motions for you all to sit down on the chairs laid out in the room, as he falls back into his large chair. Right, as I'm sure you are aware, your membership in the Adventurers Guild brings certain privileges and caveats with it. You are allowed to adventure around the land as you see fit, helping out those in need, but when we call on you, you are required to answer. And I'm glad you're all here. How have the last few weeks been, anyway?
It's actually not so good out there. There's a lot of bad stuff out in the world.
You're not wrong. In fact, that's one of the reasons I think we need you now. Tell me, what do you make of this? He slides a piece of paper over a small wooden table between you two towards you. On the piece of paper is a symbol. It looks like the letter N with a line connecting the two bottom sticks of the letter N together. Roughly like that.
Would I recognise this? Is this something that maybe I would have potentially studied?
Roll a d20.
Can I get advantage on anything, maybe?
Yes, because it's an Arcana check.
Yeah. Oh, don't need it anyway. 20.
Natural 20. Natural 20.
Let's go.
You've seen this symbol around, but only in dingy, dark, dangerous places. Clubs you definitely shouldn't go to. Pubs that are more sawdust and blood on the floor than they are dirt. Alleyways that you wouldn't want to travel down. You know it's a newer symbol because it doesn't have any of the flourishes of the general magical or the general arcane. It's definitely human created. It's not old, but it's almost meant to look old. You know that whoever's created it is giving the air of mystery, of decades past, but actually it's a relatively new symbol that you've seen pop up in the last maybe 4 or 5 months. You've only heard one name associated with it repeatedly. You've heard people talking about a group called the Liminal Nursery. You have no idea who or what they are, but you've heard that phrase, Liminal Nursery, again and again and again, whenever this symbol has been mentioned.
Yes, I recognise this. I've seen it. It's pretty new.
What is it?
Anything else?
Well, I haven't really seen... I've seen the symbols, but I haven't seen any of this. It's from these people called the Liminal Nursery. I don't know much about them. In fact, I know nothing about them. Except... Well, this is it, really. This is the first time I've seen it like this.
Well, you're about as up to speed as we are. The Liminal Nursery was the connection we were able to make quickly. It's a group. They've sprang up in the last 6 months or so. They've been taking people, but from what we can tell, not for nefarious reasons. No one has anything negative to say about these people. In fact, what's worrying us is it's quite the opposite. There's a lot of very positive chatter about these people. It might be nothing. This might be completely benign, completely benevolent, and everything's totally okay. It might just be... We see cults all the time. They spring up, they give people a little bit of hope, they make people feel part of a community, and then they slowly die out. It might be nothing. But we wouldn't be doing our due diligence if we didn't send at least somebody to check it out. And we are scared of the speed of growth of this symbol and people connected with it. Now, we only have a couple of leads. We've seen it in and around the city, and we've seen it at a couple of local villages. We've always seen the symbol in, forgive my expression, less affluent areas, more
That matches up.
downtrodden. All we want you to do is remarkably simple. Find out who or what they are and who or what they want, and then report back to me as soon as you know.
Sounds like an easy case to me.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I can tell you if you head inside the city, you'll be able to find a couple of these symbols scrawled around the docks, and you'll find a couple of them scrawled around the entertainment district, shall we say. You won't see too many of them in the upper class district, the museum district, or over by the temple. You'll have free reign of the city, but please, the Adventurers Guild and the Lords of Neverwinter don't necessarily see eye to eye on everything, so stealth and subtlety is the name of the game here. We keep their city safe, but they don't want to see us doing it. Am I making sense to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Don't worry about the sir. We're all on the same team here. Just call me Henry. What's your name?
Rage.
And yours, young sorceress?
It's Trixx.
And horseboy?
I'm pretty sure it's Callum.
Excellent. We'll go with Callum for the time being. If you need anything, come back and see me and I'll provide what I can. Until then, I would suggest you go and start at the docks and try and find this liminal nursery. See what they're all about.
Thanks, Henry. We'll report back to you soon.
Excellent. Right, good luck. Henry stands up, walks over to his desk and starts riffling through some papers and trying to do some general paperwork. He's ignoring you now. You can stay in the building and examine round or ask Henry some more questions, or you can decide to head into the city. Or you could leave the city of Neverwinter entirely and go to a local village and see if the liminal nursery have been seen over there. Rage, what are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking that I got, like, really distracted by the room that we were in, because there's just, like, a lot of stuff in there, and the only thing I've taken in is the liminal nursery. So,
The liminal does.
Yes. Billy, what do we do?
We're trying to find a cult. You know what a cult is?
No?
Callum?
I know what a cult is, and I've got some immediate thoughts on that symbol right there. So,
Okay.
apparently it's very common on the entertainment district, right? Now, that looks very much to me like my hammock after a good night in the entertainment district. So, I think that's where we start.
I'm happy to start there. Rage, we can't be rough in this city. We have to abide by the laws.
Okay, I'll try.
You got this.
Billy, you know that most cults spring up, last about 3 or 4 months, and then leave. It's just people looking for a moment of belonging. It's people looking for something tribal. People just want to feel like they're involved in something. For a cult to last longer than 4 or 5 months, you know there's definitely something to it. For it to last over 6 months, it's definitely offering people something they want, and it's probably funded from somewhere. You know that once a cult gets funding, it becomes much more dangerous. How do you feel knowing that magic may or may not be involved with this?
It's a bit distressing because we don't know how big this goes. This could be a really big underground movement that seems small on the surface, so this could just be a tip of the iceberg.
Callum, how are you feeling about investigating the cult, the liminal nursery? You know very little about them.
I mean, I've got my fair share of experience with cults, like the cult of the Second Earth. They were really bizarre to deal with. But I managed, you know, we brought them down and exposed them for what they are. I'm happy to try again with the liminal nursery or whatever they were called. I wasn't really paying attention. I was following Rage around the room, looking at all the weird stuff on the walls. But yeah.
Is there any weird stuff on the walls that's caught your eye that you want to go and investigate more?
There was a picture of a sword that was only half a sword, and then the other half was a shield. I don't know if that's like Scandi art or something. I'm really not sure at this point, but I'm sure that would be worth investigating.
The sword that's half a sword and half a shield? We can definitely have a look into it and tell you if you see it again later in the city. Rage, is there anything in the room that you want to have a look at before you leave?
What's in the room?
The room is homely and busy. It feels like a combination between a study and effectively an Adventurers Guild receptionist. You've got books of all kinds on bookshelves around, you know, big roaring fireplace in the corner, lots of hand-carved furniture, a nice thick carpet that you've been standing on, papers that Henry is working his way through, Henry's axe which is standing up against the wall next to him, and then 3 or 4 swords hanging on the walls down, sharp-looking blades.
Do any of the weapons seem well worn or used at all?
No, they all look remarkably ceremonial.
More like display pieces.
Very few of these swords have ever actually seen combat. Now, you can tell they're sharp, but they haven't been taken off the wall. And if they have, then they've been polished up to a sheen before they've been hung back up.
Okay. And the rug that we're standing on, does that seem pretty pristine or like pretty well trodden?
No, that's been around for a couple of years maybe. You can tell it's been cleaned once or twice. This has definitely been a building that's been used repeatedly throughout the years for the Adventurers Guild. It's well worn and it feels comfortable.
Any mud or like or wet dampness of the rug at all?
Not really. It's kept inside a relatively watertight building. The only kind of wet patches of the rug would be your shoes and your mud that you've traipsed in as you walked in.
Okay, so no one from the docks has been here recently. Okay, yep. I'm good.
Billy, now the other two have had a chance to look around the room. Do you think you should lead them into the city itself, or do you think you should go to a local village?
I was happy to start where Callum wanted to start, in the entertainment district, as he does have some experience hanging around slightly shadier places than I do, in towns.
As you go to leave the building, Henry simply shouts over, "Feel free to leave the horses tied up outside. They won't go anywhere, but they won't let you into the city unless you pay for them."
Good to know. Thank you. We'll save some cash.
Billy, can you tie up my horse, please?
It's already done. It's fine. It's okay. Don't worry.
Thank you. He was just kind of roaming around aimlessly for a bit.
Well, you did
Callum-
kind of just like do that.
Callum, you are
Yeah.
now aware of everything again. You've managed to shake off your head, and Rage and Billy have filled you in on the situation, so you kind of are aware of what's going on.
Okay.
Are you ready to head inside the main city of Neverwinter?
Yeah.
Hey, Billy, can you check my tie on my
Check-
horse?
Oh,
I did
I
it
was
good,
like, you're not
right?
wearing a tie.
I did it the way that you did it.
I go and check it, and I see that it's just a mess, but the horse is just standing there, so I just let her have the win. I'm just like, oh my god, that's perfect.
Thank you.
You smashed it.
I tried
Do you
so
feel
hard.
do you feel good about yourself now, Rage?
Yeah, really
Excellent.
happy.
You decide to head inside the main city. There's only one main gate in and out of the city of Neverwinter, very, very heavily guarded by the Neverwinter City Guard, but once they see that you are Adventurers Guild, they know, as City Guard, that you're normally there to help, and until you cause any trouble, they will pretty much leave you alone, so they just nod you through. The gate itself is a huge iron-wrought portcullis, with a 4 or 5 different lane inlet and outlet, with carts trundling and people walking back and forth, holding wicker baskets under their arms, bumping into and out, and you have to kind of force your way into the city. Once you've managed to force your way into the city, you're on the opening promenade. Houses rising above you, shops, pubs, inns, gambling dens, sports goods, bakeries, butchers, everything you can imagine, all the smells all wafting together, the dust of the street being kicked up by the horses trundling through by the rich merchants who have paid to let them in. Rage, how are you feeling about being in such an oppressive city, so different from the barbarian lifestyle?
So busy, so packed. Wait.
People are knocking into you as you walk past
that-
without meaning to. They're just gently edging past you and then pushing past you. Some people trip and stumble and gently push you but then apologise and carry on. No one's attacked you, but you feel in the way.
Yeah, I do feel overwhelmed, but I also smell something. Smell something tasty. What is that?
That is probably coming from the inn.
I follow my nose.
That is likely the Rusty Hatchet Inn, only a few metres down the street. Some ageing, crickety steps lead up to it, and it's a small establishment. Only 1 or 2 barrels of beer. It can only seat 4 or 5 people at the same time, but they are known for their quite well-cooked meats.
Billy,
What's up?
can you smell that?
Yeah, it's food.
It's food.
You hungry again?
Can we go get some food?
Okay, if you want to go and check out the inn,
Yeah.
you got to go look for that symbol.
Take a snack first.
Okay, fine. It's the only way we're gonna do things.
Cal,
half
you
the
want
time.
snack?
I mean, I was following other trails. There is obviously the brothel further down the road, and I'm quite
That's
familiar
off a
with
couple of side streets and down. Although the city know that there is
Yeah.
an entertainment district, they don't tend to allow it to be seen by most travellers, and they kind of keep it hush-hush and under wraps.
them. Okay, then. I'm down for food, then. Rage, if you want food, we'll go get food.
Yeah. Let's get a quick snack.
You manage to push your way through the crowd, and you make your way to the Rusty Hatchet. A very small inn, cramped. If you look at the 2 buildings either side, this building itself almost looks like it was an afterthought. Almost just put up quickly, a pair of steps was added, they threw a couple of chairs in there. It's almost not big enough itself to be a building, but you're able to squeeze through the wooden door, which is slightly too small, and then once you get in, there's 1 or 2 patrons, already 4 or 5 mugs of ale deep, lying over the tables, already drunk, and there's a bartender who looks a little bit drunk himself, just kind of gently swaying behind, occasionally picking up a wooden stick and taking a big bite out of some mystery meat that seems to be stuck on the end of this stick before putting it back down on the counter and returning to his gentle swaying. Rage, when you walk in,
Yep.
the bartender simply looks over at you.
Hello.
Hello.
You have meat?
Meat! He holds the stick up and holds it toward you.
What is it?
Meat?
What kind of meat?
Cooked meat.
I'm good. Billy, I'm scared.
We came in here for food. Are you not hungry now?
I don't
Did
like
you not want some?
man. They're scary.
He's fine. Can we have I'm gonna ask for like a leg of something, whatever they've got, essentially.
Leg. Okay. He holds up the stick that he's got, and as you approach, you realise that it's effectively a fried rat. He pings off the leg of the fried rat on the stick that he's eating and simply holds it out to you.
Oh no, never mind. That's we'll just have a beer, an ale.
One. Okay. He puts it down back on the counter, turns around and grabs one of the mugs off the counter. You realise that as he grabs one of the mugs off the counter itself is covered in a thin layer of liquid grime. He's clearly cleaned, but
I'm
it's
not
not
touching
drained
anything in
anywhere.
here.
So as he picks the glass up and then spins it the right way around, the rim of the glass has this lovely kind of dark grey sludge on top of it. He wipes it off quickly with his forearm, but then goes to pour from a barrel, realising that the barrel isn't quite angled well enough to pour, so he kind of flips the actual switch with his finger and then lifts the barrel up from the back, and it sloshes out toward him, over into the glass, over his hand a little bit. He shakes off the drips from his hands back into the glass, and then simply, with a big beaming smile, hands the glass out toward you, Billy.
Here you are, Callan. This is for you.
Oh, thank you. I'm feeling right at home here. I was eager for the entertainment district, but with all this mystery meat and sloshing over your hand, I feel right at home.
I pay for it and then let Callum take it out of his hand. Can I detect thoughts on him?
Yes, roll a d20.
3.
Oh.
No think.
He has very few thoughts that you are able to pick up on.
Damn.
His thoughts right now are rat, beer, sorceress, barbarian, man, rat, beer, money.
Oh, somebody's... Look at that.
He turns around and
behind him.
stares at whatever you were pointing at.
I just leave.
Intensely trying to find what you were looking at.
I don't want to pay for the drink, so I just leave.
He hasn't even given Callum the drink yet. He's still holding it in his hand, but he's just behind the bar and is intently staring at whatever you pointed at.
I leave too.
I'm just going out.
Bye, Cal.
I take the drink out of his hand and also leave.
He doesn't even notice you take it. He just gets it and then leaves, and he's just standing there staring. Have you left the coin to pay for this on the actual counter, though?
Oh, God, no.
You've not paid for the drink.
God, no.
Okay, you've stolen the drink from this person and just walked out. Just going to note that down.
Oh, no. I'm going to come back and
I didn't steal it, just saying that, technically.
My
I just
untied
left.
horse has walked off mysteriously.
Your horse is tied?
Oh,
The
yeah.
crime has happened. Right, now, you have managed to steal a drink from the clearly quite slow bartender. You are back on the busy streets and people are jostling you side to side. This is a busy, busy city. Rage, Billy, Cal, what's the plan?
Okay, Callum, you got to stop following your nose. We're not going to get any food, okay? You didn't like the rat, so this
Hey.
place is disgusting.
Whoa, hold up. I didn't follow the rat. Rage did.
Well, okay, you obviously know where you're going. You need to take us to the entertainment district.
Take us to the brothel house, Callum.
I mean, we're in the entertainment district, right?
Well, this is the opening promenade into
Yeah.
the city. The entertainment district is a bit further deep into the city, down a couple of side streets.
I will warn you all, the deeper we go into entertainment district, you're going to see things you don't like.
I don't mind seeing him. I just don't want it touching me.
I don't mind. I've seen things.
Okay.
I'm a barbarian. What can shock me?
You'd be surprised.
You didn't want to eat a rat.
Well, yeah, because I have standards.
Do you wish to head deeper into the city?
We head deeper into the city.
We follow Callum.
The city is pretty obviously divided into several different sections. There is the upper class section featuring the temple, featuring the much more expensive houses, the nice parks, the promenades, the fountains, the close enough to the blacksmith district where things are made, the clothiers, the tailors, and then you've got the more merchant-based class in the centre. You've got the big city square, you've got the fountain in the centre of that, you've got all of the market stalls selling various wares, and then over toward the edge, toward the grimier side, toward the docks, you've got what looks like the remnants of a set-up circus that clearly left town a long time ago. You've got some crumbling down buildings that landlords are still trying to rent out as luxury waterside apartments, and you've got a couple of rather seedy inn and pub establishments that are clearly selling a few more things than just beer. You follow your nose toward the docks. It smells heavily of fish and old wet rope. And as you do go down, Callum, you begin to feel more and more at home as the establishments get seedier, and the clientele hanging around on street corners begin to wear long leather coats and hoods that cover the top part of their faces, so you can just see the whites of their eyes.
Yeah.
You're feeling much more at home here, Callum.
Oh, I am.
How's that feel to you?
It feels good. I feel like I'm back in my hometown. It's very similar. So I'm like a pig in mud here.
You're loving it, aren't you?
I am.
Rage, how are you feeling, seeing as this place is clearly going away from higher class toward shadier, seedier underbelly of the city?
It's interesting. I have not seen people dressed like this before. I also don't like the fact that it's getting stinkier and fishier and wetter. Yeah, I'm following Cal though. I trust him.
You shouldn't.
And Billy,
Oh.
how are you feeling? Because you were raised in pretty upper class. This is dangerous to you, but you aren't scared.
No, it's just absolutely disgusting and I don't want to touch anything.
As you walk through a couple of alleyways and down a couple of side streets, there are two guys, at least you believe they are guys, leaning against the rotting wooden outer of a building. Then as you walk past, one of them simply looks up, hands in pockets still of long coats, and says to you, Cal, "Oi, you're gonna give us a sip of that drink? Because you are still carrying the beer."
Mate, I earned this.
All right. Well, I'm thirsty. And me and my compadre here could do with a nice sip of beer, you know what I mean?
Why don't you go earn your own?
Oh, all right. You saying I don't work hard? Are you saying that I don't deserve a sip of beer after work? Are you saying that I'm lazy? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying you.
He's not saying that at all.
No. I'm saying
The
you.
man
not
has stepped
lazy.
forward off the actual building and has taken his hands out of his pockets. You can see on one of his hands there is a rusty, aging knuckle duster. His other hand has nothing in it. His compadre has not moved yet and is simply standing with both his hands in his pockets on his coats. The larger of the two men simply walks toward Yukal slowly, clenching his fist as the knuckle duster begins to drip with rust effectively. Are you saying that I'm lazy?
I'm not saying you're lazy. I'm just saying you're lazy in the wrong areas. Go and earn your own. Stop borrowing from others.
All right. How about you don't tell me what to do, and you give me a little sip of that drink? Just a little sip. Otherwise, me and my friends here might not take too kindly to you because we ain't seen you around here before.
Okay. I throw the drink over him.
Roll a d20.
Attaboy.
That's a hardcore 4.
Oh.
Rage, roll a d20. Roll for initiative. Callum, you throw the drink, which just splashes right over his shoulder, missing him almost entirely. Maybe one or two drops just drip down the coat arm, with all the other drink splashing into the building behind it, falling down and frothing onto the floor. The guy looks over his shoulder to check that you didn't hit his friend with the drink, turns back to you, and then raises his fist as he darts towards you. Cal, what did you roll?
What did I roll?
On a d20, you rolled a 4.
4, yeah.
Billy?
15.
Rage?
6. Cal.
Yeah.
supposed to be the most charismatic man.
I am.
Callum,
but,
as soon as you have finished throwing the spear, the man darts towards you. You look up, and the next thing you feel is an intense pressure in your chest, concentrated entirely into a small area. You look down just in time to see the edge of this rusty knuckle duster embedded into you, almost breaking the skin, almost breaking bone. And as the guy comes to a stop, you are thrown backwards through the force of this punch, smashing itself into your chest as hard as you possibly can. Please take D4 damage. So roll a D4.
Oh no. Let me find my D4. Where even are you? That's not one.
The Caltrop style pyramid one.
We aren't allowed to do any reactive stuff. Are we?
I think I actually lost my D4. Okay, one sec.
The stabby one, Cal.
Got one. Yeah, no.
It looks like the up stabby one.
It wasn't in my little box of dice, so I am a 2. Crap.
Please hit 2 damage.
Okay.
Billy, you realise what's happening next pretty quickly. Callum has been punched hard in the chest. This guy's got one knuckle duster on and then nothing on his other hand. His friend has simply stepped forward, reached his hand inside a coat and pulled out a couple of small, blunt throwing knives. Clearly not sharp, but still going to do some damage if you get hit in the face by them. The other guy is hanging back further, getting ready to throw something at you. He's kind of dodging and weaving and waiting for an opening. Billy, what are you going to do?
I'm just going to bring up my shield across the three of us, just like as a like kind of thin wall, and I'm gonna just not react to it. I'm just gonna be really calm.
Okay. You've simply stepped back and decided to use your magical energy to create a lovely physical shield. It shimmers slightly. Was it blue or purple when you created it?
It's just like an iridescent kind of color, and I just don't be hasty.
So you can almost see through it. Is the man that's attacked Cal on this side of the shield toward you, or is he blocked away as well?
We're separated from them.
Yeah.
You're separated from them.
We're face to face with the shield.
You have managed to step back. Callum has been pushed towards you, and you've brought up a shield across them. Rage, this shield has been created in front of you now. You've seen this man punch Callum back, and then Billy create the shield. You can still walk around the edge of the shield, or you can walk through the shield from this direction to the other side. It's just difficult to come from the other side back in. What are you going to do?
I am going to walk in between Cal and Billy, because at this point I've kind of just taken a step back, just kind of watched them, and I'm going to take a step forward and step in between both of them and make myself as big as physically possible, not say a word, and just stare at this guy and want to do an intimidation on him.
Now, this guy might not be able to see you perfectly well because you will be behind the shield and he and his friend will be on the other side. If you want, you can slowly step through this shimmering iridescent shield, staring him down and see if the intimidation is working.
Yeah, I'll do that.
So as you step through, do you also haft up your hammer and swing it round as if it's like an intimidating stance?
No, I keep my hammer still in my hold. All I'm just gonna do is I'm gonna stand there with my hands on my hips.
Roll a d20.
All right, so that was a 1.
That was a 1.
But I am proficient in intimidation.
Roll the d20 again. Let's take the other one, but bad things are still going to happen.
That's a 5.
Oh no.
You put on your most intimidating face.
Oh,
These
dear.
two men were leaning up against the side of a building only a few seconds ago. One of them asked for a sip of Callum's drink, and Callum responded by attempting to throw it over him and missing. Callum got punched in the chest for his troubles, and Billy pulled up a magical shield quickly. You stepped through the shimmering iridescent shield. And as you breach this lovely magical barrier, your face appears to these two, angry, ready, powerful. And then a sudden burst of pain as you feel a small rusty dagger pierce through your cheek and hit your teeth on the inside of your mouth. The guy at the back has thrown a throwing dagger. It's gone straight through, thankfully missing your eyes, but it's gone through your cheek and actually hit. You can feel the ting of the metal onto tooth as it hits and then hangs out the side of your cheek, stuck into your flesh. Please roll 1d4 and take that much damage.
4.
Please take 4 damage.
Yeah, well, my teeth are very sensitive, actually.
They are sensitive.
Yeah,
You've not
so-
raged yet, but your attempted intimidation has completely failed as you walked into a free attack from them. Callum, you finally realise what's happened. You've managed to catch your breath. You've seen Billy create the shield. You've seen Rage step through it, and then almost a yelp of pain, and then a splatter of red onto the shield, which has begun to drip down slowly in an almost pixelated effect through the magical barrier. What are you going to do?
The person who's just stabbed Rage, I'm going to reach through the shield, grab his legs as I crouch down, and pull them from under him.
Okay, roll a d20.
He's at the back.
The guy that's thrown the dagger at Rage is further away from you than you would be able to reach him.
Okay, in that case, I inspire Billy.
What are you going to say that would inspire Billy?
Swiggity swoot, here comes the flute, and then I just play the harshest note you've ever heard.
That is a very harsh
That's
note.
a war
Yeah.
cry.
Billy, you have been suitably inspired. You've got a quick chance to use an action or an event now before it goes back to the other guys attacking you. What are you going to do?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So how many of them are there again? So
Two. There is one melee guy with a
okay,
knuckle
just two of
duster,
them. For some
one
reason I
guy
thought there
hanging
was
out the
three.
back, thinner, smaller, but throwing little blades at you.
Okay. I am going. Oh, I really wish I could do something else. I need more spells. I want to I'm just gonna acid splash the one that's furthest away. Just
Acid
like
splash the one that's furthest away. So, are you going to,
Shoo them
leaving
off.
your magical shield up, lean through it and kind of throw acid from your hand at him?
yeah. I mean, like it's my shield. I can do what I want with it. Like surely I
You
can
can.
just like.
Do you want to get rid of
Lower
it, or like a little hole for the acid to go through?
It just goes through it.
Roll a
It's
d20.
acid. That is also a d20. Don't fail me. It failed me. It's a 2.
I'm going to roll to defend. All I have to do is not roll a 1. You lean forward. You throw a splash of acid. This horrible concentrated green glob goes through the magical shield. As it goes through the shield, it almost disperses into like a thin but yet thick mist flying forward. The guy at the back sees it and dodges out the way quickly. It splashes onto the wall behind him, with only a couple of drops just splashing onto the back of his coat, which he's able to brush off with remarkably quickly. The guy that punched Cal simply stands back up, steps forward, and then punches the magical shield as hard as he possibly can. Billy, please roll a d20.
Okay, I'm going to roll a different d20 this time. I don't trust that other one. Oh, no, that one's gone on the floor. Okay, never mind. This one. 13!
You feel the energy from the punch reverberate in the shield, but you're just about able to keep your focus, keep concentrated, and keep it back up, and it's still there. Rage, you've managed to recover from being hit in the face by a dagger, and you've seen a blob of acid fly past you toward the dude that attacked you, and he's dodged out the way of it. The guy with the knuckle duster then punched the shield, and Billy's been able to keep it up. What are you now going to do?
So it's the guy who's punched the shield to my right because I've stepped through the shield.
Yes.
Okay, so the guy in front of me now is the guy with the throwing knives.
The guy with the throwing knives is several paces away from you.
Sick. I'm gonna run at him with his own throwing knife.
You're going to pull the throwing knife out of your own cheek.
Yes, so
and
I'm
run
gonna
at him with
rip
his
the
own
knife from my mouth. I'm gonna stare at him dead in the eye, wipe the blood, and say, "You're gonna regret that," and then just launch for him with the pointy end towards his neck, his throat.
Roll a d20.
13
You pull it out, you say the intimidating thing, and you run toward him.
+3 if it's Dex.
You sprint straight toward him. Describe how you're going to attack him. He's quite close to the edge of the building. He's quite close to the actual wall of the building, which still has a big glob of poisonous goo on it from when Billy cast the acid splash.
Perfect. So I'm going to leap towards him with the throwing knife in my left hand, and I'm gonna push him against the wall. And I'm gonna basically just nuzzle the tip of the throwing knife underneath his chin, and with my free right hand put it against the wall, so he's kind of trapped between the glob, my hand, and
He
the tip of the
realises what
throwing
you're trying to do and is pretty good in close combat, so he pulls a couple of daggers into his other hands and splices them between his fingers. As you push in, he kind of knocks your knife away. He's still pushed back up against the wall, and you're able to get the dagger just to his chest, but not under his chin, as he quickly pulls his hand up and grabs it. You've got him pushed and pinned against the wall, but you've not got the blade in any kind of dangerous position. The glob of poisonous goo is still dripping down the wall next to him. He's managing to hold back against you to hold the blade, but you are way stronger than he is physically. You'd be able to move his entire body around no problem. Billy, you've noticed that Rage has ran through and taken care, or is currently taking care, of the guy at the back throwing it. The guy with the knuckle duster is still trying to punch through your shield. Callum, Billy is holding this shield up. What are you going to do?
The guy that Rage is in a bit of an altercation with, I'm going to throw my axe at. And I'm aiming to kind of like pin him up the wall with clothing.
Cal, I'm in front of him.
Yeah.
Okay, Callum, so Rage is currently holding this dude super close, like literally pinning him up
I'm
against the wall,
literally like,
and your plan is to
I'm-
throw an axe at him.
I was picturing that I was to the side of her in the bubble, so when she charged forward and like pinned him up the wall, I'm still to the side. That was my imagination of this.
She's still very close to him. Are you sure you want to do this?
We're gonna take the roll of the dice and
Callum,
chance
roll a
it.
d20.
10.
Rage, please roll a d20.
19.
Oh,
Callum's aim is terrible. As in, he steps out of the magical shield, pulls his hatchet out, and then launches it. It's a miracle that it went toward you at all. However, you are very aware, while pinning this guy up against the wall, that there is now an axe flying through the air. Could hit you, could hit him. You can leave it up to chance and not do anything, or you can react quickly to the knowledge there's a hatchet flying through the air towards you.
I grab the back of the guy's face at his head, and I just use him as human shield for the hatchet coming towards me.
You place your hand almost caressingly around the back of his head, and there's a moment where he thinks, oh, I see, this has taken a turn I didn't expect. He can feel your fingers ruffle through his hair. He can feel the palm of your hand gently support the back of his head, and then he can feel all of your fingers curl around the back and hold his head. And then he can feel you yank his head off the wall, and he thinks, this is it. This is the moment we're going in for the kiss. And then you pull him to the side and hold his head out toward. And the last thing he sees is the glint of a blade. He feels the top of his lip split as the blade smacks into it. He feels the bottom of his lip split as well. He feels his teeth in a line shatter inwards, the shards stabbing into his own gums, and then as he goes to scream, he realizes that he can't, because the axe has now pinned itself so powerfully into his mouth and into his jaw, he can't open his jaw anymore. He screams a small guttural gurgle and then simply begins to claw at his own face, trying to make the pain stop, not even aware that he could pull the axe out because of the intense jolt of pain that's gone through him. You are still holding the back of his head, and you can feel him begin to shake.
Karma.
Rage, what are you going to do?
I whisper into his ear and I say, ha, karma, as I push his head back into the wall where the goo is.
As the axe is chopped into the half of his face and shattered his teeth and gums and jaw, and he screams and yelps in pain, you grab his face and stick the other side into the poisonous globule of acid that's dripping down the wet wood. It begins to mix with his face, and his screams of pain become a guttural gurgle, a yelp of something inhuman and indescribable as his skin begins to melt away, and you can see his eye drip over his cheek and down over the remainder of his lips and chin. It only takes a couple of seconds for the shock to kick in, and he slumps to the floor. If anyone's new to the show, by the way, we do describe the fights in quite a visceral way. There's probably a couple of people who have tuned in for the first time. They're like, oh, this is going to be a fun Dungeons and Dragons romp. And then all they've had for the last 50 minutes is the description of some guy having a hatchet cave half his face in and then just melt. Yeah. Hope you're all having a good time. Callum, you've just seen Rage effectively do this. Pull the guy's head, block the hatchet with it, then melt the side of his face and throw him to the floor. The dude that's punching in turns and sees his friend on the floor. He sees what you've done to him, Rage, and he realises that maybe he should have been intimidated by you. He's a little bit distracted. Billy, while Rage is melting someone's face and Callum's throwing a hatchet, you realise the guy that was punching your shield has stopped. What are you going to do?
I'm just gonna. I like notice. I'm guessing he's like looked around basically to see what's happening behind him. As he does that, I'm just going to smack him on the back of the head with my staff.
Roll a d20.
Yes. Yes.
4.
You pull the shield down, hold up your stick, and just bonk the dude on the head. It hurts. He turns and looks at you,
Go away!
and you just. He looks at you again, and then you just.
Don't make me ask again.
Could you just stop it? Stop it.
Go.
Last warning.
Billy, you've just hit him a couple of times with the stick, and he's realises that you are not the threat. After hitting him a couple of times, he goes, I will not hit a woman out of principle. I just want a drink. Just want a drink from your mate, but you are making me want to break these principles.
Callum, give him your drink.
I've already
One that
thrown
you-
it.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, I
That's what started this whole thing, Billy.
I thought you still had it for some reason.
No, Cal threw it over.
Instead of just being like, yeah, mate, have a sip, he just went.
Rage, you realise that Billy is maybe losing control of this big guy that's punching things, and she's just gently slapping him in the head with a stick, and he's just getting a bit annoyed, trying to knock it away. Rage, you can take advantage of this. He's distracted. What are you going to do?
I can't help but allow a little giggle, or like little Billy trying to do big bonk bonk. Let me show you how it's done. I just walk over, I take my hammer out, and with the staff end of my hammer, I just go blank on the back
With
of
the
his
staff
head.
end, not even the hammer end.
Not the hammer, just the staff.
Roll a d20, Rage.
That's a 7.
You manage to hit him quite powerfully on the shoulder, and he almost gets knocked down and turns to look at you. Stop it. And then, Billy, you hit him again with a stick. Stop it. And
Callum,
then,
join
Rage, you
in.
hit him again
This
with
is
a stick.
really fun.
Stop it.
I get the flute and just bonk him with it.
Cal, roll a d20.
Oh, bollocks. That's a 4.
Cal,
Yay!
you go to bonk him with the flute, which he turns, blocked with his other hand, and then punches you really hard again in the chest. You look down and see almost exactly the same position of the fist as you are knocked back onto almost exactly the same position of the floor. Cal, please take 1d4 damage.
Oh, no.
no.
I feel responsible for that.
Yeah, Billy, this is all your fault. That's a 2.
Rage, you've realised this guy, although annoyed by both of you, is still very angry, very aggressive, and very dangerous. What are you going to do?
I want to bonk him as well. Again, on the head. Staff.
Roll a d20.
It taunted me. It was 20, and then it landed on 14.
You lift your staff up and you bring it down hard onto his head. He's able to turn and just about raise his hand enough, but he doesn't expect how heavy the end of the staff is, and it cracks him on the side of the skull. You feel almost a snap as you hit him. And he looks at you. And then out the corner of his mouth and out the corner of his eye, just a very thick bead of blood begins to well up and then just drip down. And he goes to say something but can't. You've clearly hit a very weak part of the skull. And as he blinks, the blood washes over the interior of his eye. And then when he opens again, it's bright red as he drops to his knees and doesn't fall left or right. He simply just tries to breathe as he realises he can't move or do anything else. Billy, you've just watched Rage paralyse a guy. What are you going to do?
Slave.
I don't think he can walk anymore. You shouldn't have done that. I was just trying to stop them. So we could leave and carry on.
Just
I
take
don't know
him
what to
with
do
us.
now. I'm not carrying him.
Oh, but he can.
He tried to hurt you and Callum. Just put him to the side. Let him be. He's had enough.
As you are discussing this, you hear footsteps behind you. You turn and look quickly, and it's a guard of the city of Neverwinter. They step towards you. Adventurers Guild members, are you all right? You shouldn't be around here in such a small group. Muggings have increased. Good lord, what's happened to him?
Yeah,
We got
already-
attacked.
Yeah, we got mugged.
Tried stealing
Are you
a drink.
okay?
We're fine. This guy is not so much. I think he needs some help though. I know he's a delinquent, but
Yeah,
he
muggings
doesn't
have
deserve that.
been on the rise, unfortunately. I was just sent over in regular rounds to make sure everyone's okay. We'll, I think I know some people that will be able to help this man. It's okay. It's okay.
Thank you.
Well, I'll take care of this, don't worry.
We're heading to the... Is there a brothel around here somewhere?
Well,
It's not for that reason.
You don't need to explain things to me. Yes, if you head down past the ships all the way to the end on the final dock, you'll meet the Fisky Fisherman. That's the best place you want to go to.
Okay, so past the docks. That's good. We can check the docks on the way. Okay.
Yes.
Let's go, guys.
I'll take this guy. Come on, off to the nursery with you. The guard steps
Does
forward,
he seem genuine?
kneels down, and picks up this dude that you have paralysed. The guy is unable to talk and unable to move without being supported. But the guard begins to slowly walk away into the distance, carrying this guy.
Did he
Did
just
he
say the
seem genuine in
nursery?
what he said? Did he see hello?
Yes, are you talking to me as a DM?
Yeah.
Do you think he seemed genuine?
This is me doing like a check.
Okay, roll a d20. Do an insight check.
Yeah, insight, that's the word. Ah, 4.
You can tell he's a guard that works for the city of Neverwinter. Billy, what was the last thing you heard him say?
He's going to take care of him.
No.
Callum, you picked up something different.
Yeah, I heard him say he was taking him to the nursery. Could this be the same nursery that we're trying to investigate?
I heard that too.
Yeah.
He didn't seem that genuine, but like, I mean, he's a guard of the city, so like, why wouldn't he be
Yeah,
genuine?
but guards are employed by like the management of the city, and they're usually corrupt, in my experience.
Oh, maybe. Oh, we should follow him. Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you think so.
I think
The guard
following.
is walking off into a couple of side streets. If you're going to choose to follow him, you should follow him quickly.
All in favor of following? Say aye.
I'll come with you.
Let's go.
Callum is very, very excited.
I'm very.
Rage, roll a... in fact, Cal, roll a d20 for a stealth check, seeing as
Oh,
the
no.
guard might have to look around as you've just gone, aye!
That's definitely a 3.
Oh.
Billy, roll a d20 for a stealth check, please.
7.
And Rage, roll a d20.
6.
The guard is aware that you haven't left to the brothel that he gave you directions to. He's carrying this mugger under his arms, slumping through the streets, and before the guard turns a final corner into a maze of side streets and honeycombs, he glances back. He sees all of you, and you see him. He knows you're going to follow him if you do now. And then he turns the corner out of sight. Callum, you did hear the last thing he said was, let's get this guy to the nursery.
Mm-hmm.
So wherever he's taking this injured mugger might be the liminal nursery cult that you are after.
Yeah.
But if you follow him on the floor, he's ready for you. Billy, can you think of another way to follow?
Yeah, I would like to attempt to turn the party invisible.
Okay. Roll a d20. You can do yourself.
I love
That's
this
absolutely
game.
fine.
Don't fuck me up, dice.
You can do it. You can do it.
9.
Oh.
You turn yourself invisible, and you can turn either Callum or Rage invisible with you.
I will turn Callum invisible.
Callum, you're invisible. Rage, you can still be seen. Billy, what's the plan?
Okay, Rage, I'm right here. Hey, pay attention. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm like waving something that I've got that she can still see, so she can still know where I am.
You've managed to pick up a little bit of litter from the floor and wave it at her.
Okay, I'm still here. Me and Callum are going to go investigate. Don't
Yeah, I follow.
go. No, you can't. I can't make you invisible. I'm sorry. I don't
I
have
will
enough power
climb.
right now. You want to climb?
I can climb.
If we get seen, this is all... It's going to be for nothing.
Look, I'll show you. Is there a
Rage?
building wall nearby?
Yes, you are in the city with lots of different... You're by the docks, but you're also by the kind of dilapidated city buildings part of it, houses and brothels and shops that have been shuttered and boarded for a long time. You can quickly, if you want to, attempt to climb onto the roof.
Yes, I see like the nearest barrel or box, and I jump on that, and then I pull myself up onto a
You
mini
use your
roof.
strength to scramble up onto the roof. Roll a d20, see how successful this is.
Using dexterity.
Yes.
It's a 1.
Rage turns around and says, "Watch! I can parkour!" You sprint toward a building. Your objective is to jump up, put your foot on the building, push off, turn around, grab the ledge to the other side, pull yourself up, backflip onto the other roof, roll off a barrel, and then jump onto the very top. So you run, you jump. The wall of the building that you've chosen is very rotten, and Billy and Callum, what you see is Rage just crash through this wall into a building. Rotten wood splintering and slumping to the ground, sluicing off itself into a heap on the floor, Rage disappearing into the pitch black darkness of this internal abandoned building. Rage, please roll a d4 and take that much damage.
1.
Please take 1 damage. Rage, the last thing you know is that you run toward a greening, kind of moss-covered, rotten wall. You leap up, kick your way through, and flail inside. You manage to stand up and brush yourself off. And inside, the building isn't quite as abandoned as you imagined it would be. There's no one around, but there are beds on the floor. A crude camp. Bed rolls, if you will. And candles. And then scratched onto the wall around the place, the symbol that you've been shown on the bit of paper. It's remarkably lucky, but you may have just barreled into the one building in the city that might give you some clues as to where you need to go to. How are you feeling?
Smart. I am smart, and I have found the clues.
Billy, Rage, what would you like to tell Billy? Billy, you've just seen Rage barrel into this building.
Poking my head into the hole that she's made. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. And in an attempt to try and be independent, I will say, you guys go on ahead. I'm gonna stay here for a little bit. There's snacks.
I've never heard you say anything smarter, actually. That's not okay.
Billy, you
just
can
don't go anywhere.
Billy, you can very clearly see the symbols in the room that you're meant to be in.
No, you can't. Hey, Billy, no hands. I want this for myself.
Callum, you've just seen Rage barrel into a building. You've heard the splintering of wood, and then you've heard someone shuffle, stand up, and then from inside you just hear a very kind of meek, "I'm smart."
I mean, this is pretty standard for this little adventuring party. It's nothing out of the ordinary. Rage has done something dumb, potentially found a lead, and she's just going, headlong into that. I'm sat here bruised. I'm a wounded warrior right now, and I'm focusing on myself right now. I want to cast Cure Wounds and get myself sorted.
Cal, you successfully managed to focus on yourself, heal yourself, and cure your wounds. You roll heal.
It's a D8.
Heal 1d4 plus 4.
Okay.
Oh.
Where's my D4 gone? Okay. That is a 3 plus 4, so 7.
Heal 7. Rage, as you are standing in this room, you hear footsteps. There's stairs going down into the earth next to you. And someone is walking up, clearly coming to investigate the crash they heard above. A little trapdoor opens in the corner of the room, and a man pokes his head out, wearing a grey robe. He turns to look at you.
I don't have time to react?
My child, are you okay?
I think so.
It's okay. You're safe now. You're
Okay.
here to be made well. You're safe now.
I'm safe now.
Are you ready to be made safe?
I am ready to be made well.
Excellent.
Safe.
Your time is almost at hand. Come with me. The man motions you to follow him down the steps. He's clearly confused you for whoever is meant to be in this room.
Okay. I one last look, turn to Billy and say, "Hi," and I follow.
Billy and
She
Cal,
says bye to no one because we're invisible.
Billy and Cal, you've very clearly seen this entire scene play out, and Rage has just gone bye to no one. Billy and Cal, clearly this is important. Do you wish to follow Rage down while still being invisible?
Yeah, I wait for us. I kind of Because I don't want to speak. I want to keep our
Hush.
silence.
Rage has followed this member of the liminal nursery, most likely down the steps into whatever they are doing underground. Billy, you push your way in through the rotten hole in the side of the building that Rage smashed her way into. You lift up the trapdoor, follow them down as well. Callum, are you following Billy?
Yeah, I'm following them, but I'm just, after seeing everything that's gone on, I'm just thinking, for God's sake, is that all it takes for this woman to join a cult?
Rage, you've been led down by this man in grey robes. Underground, it's quite nicely lit. It's almost quite nicely made. There's much more comfier beds laying out on the floor. There's food available, there's wine available, and there's a couple of people who look injured, a few who look sick, and many who look kind of homeless, scattered around this building, all being taken care of by people in grey robes. The man turns to you. So, my child, we have something planned for you. Tell me, who told you about us?
Well, it was like a man in a room, and he had like a lot of swords.
A warrior.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Well, we're going to take care of you. We're going to make the rest of your life fantastic.
Can I have some of that food?
You can have all the food you want, and better food as well.
Nice.
Follow me. He leads you deeper into this underground complex. And as you walk through, Billy and Cal, you're clearly following and listening to this conversation. The food is getting more and more extravagant. Nicer and nicer. Beautiful. Exquisite. Very well cooked. Smells and looks fantastic. Kings don't eat this well. But as you go deeper and deeper into this kind of underground cavern and complex, following different twists and tunnels and turns, really well, nicely made. Sometimes you can see grates above you leading to the city streets above, and you can see people walking along. There are glass bricks that allows sunlight to filter through. This underground complex is remarkably nice, well made, well kept, clean. And eventually we reach a small door, an offshoot to a room, and the man in the grey robe motions you, Rage, to head inside. Oh no, this is your room. This is where you will be supplied with everything you need. He opens the door and shows you, and inside the room there's a comfortable looking bed, there's books on the walls, there's a combat practice dummy in the corner, there's a weight set, there's food, there's jugs of water and wine. Everything you could possibly need is in this room.
Why me?
Because, my child, you wanted to become an angel. That's what you would have told the man with the swords, and he led you to us.
An angel? I didn't say anything about an angel.
No, it's okay. It's okay. You're going to be an angel.
I don't want to be an angel.
If you want to rethink, we can give you a day.
But do I still get the food?
Of course. We'll give you some food now, and then when you've decided that you want to be an angel, you can come back here.
Okay, how do I get back here?
We'll find you. Don't worry.
Okay.
You'll need to wear the mark, just so we know. The man holds his arm up and the grey robe slips down, and on his forearm you can see the symbol, just carved gently into his skin. Not obvious unless you look for it.
Okay,
He motions you to hold your forearm forward.
I hold it.
He takes a small knife out of his pocket and, in a very, very delicate, almost surgical way, makes a couple of cuts into your skin until the symbol just begins to gently bleed and then almost immediately heal over. You feel very little pain.
Okay.
He steps back. All done. Go and enjoy your day today, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, see you tomorrow. I turn and I walk back out.
He leads you back out of the complex to a different set of steps that lead up to a different part of the city. He simply lifts up the trapdoor and motions you to leave.
I leave.
Billy, Callum, you've been following the entire time. Would you leave as well? Billy?
I want to stay. I want to
You
investigate more. Yeah.
The trapdoor is closed, and the man in the grey robes walks off. Rage, you've managed to find at least one of the hideouts of the liminal nursery, although you still have no idea what they actually do. Billy and Cal, you're invisible, but it's only going to last a couple more minutes, and you're not meant to be down there. You weren't there with someone in the robe. What are you going to do, Billy?
Are there robes in this room?
Roll a d20.
3.
No. Callum,
Yeah.
what would you like to do? You need to
I
leave quickly, but you can maybe grab one or two things while you're there.
yeah. What's in the room that I'm currently in?
Roll a d20.
That's 17.
The corridor system underground is remarkably complex, left and right and left and right and left and right and left and right, with rooms branching off the side, almost built underneath shell buildings on top of them, if you will, to make sure that the foundations were solid enough to have a roof above their head. You look around and can see strands of grey. You can see plates, silver tableware of food stacked up. You can see jugs of water and wine. And then you can see books. Rows and rows and rows and rows and rows of books. Actually quite low down toward the floor. It's quite strange. It's almost at foot height. Just endless books, all bound in grey leather.
Okay, I want to grab a handful of books and start tucking them into my belt and then leave.
You do manage to grab a couple of books without reading them, tuck them into your belt, and then you follow up the stairs that you saw Rage go out, opening the trapdoor. Rage, you look and you see the trapdoor open, and Callum just shimmers from being invisible to visible again. And you're amazed to see him there. Rage, what are you thinking?
What? I thought you guys were back there. I thought you were waiting for me.
No.
By the docks. You came with me?
We saw it all.
Oh, you seen my cool tattoo?
I wouldn't say cool or tattoo, but yes, we have seen it.
Billy, you've seen Callum take some books and then leave. You've maybe got one more minute while you're down there. Is there anything else you want to have a quick look at or a quick attempt to find something? You can't find any of the grey robes.
Yeah, the last thing I'll look at before I go, I guess, is just like, is there like any maps or anything about in here or anything like that?
The only thing you can see on the floor that even resembles a map is a small bit of paper, almost a flyer. And when you pick it up, it's written in a language you can't quite decipher in the darkness. You can tell it's an advert for whatever the liminal nursery is meant to be, but you can't read it in this light. It's too dusty, and you'd maybe need to trace over the letters again to work out what it is. But you've got it with you.
Yeah, I just shove it in my pocket and leave.
Rage, you now see Biddy climb up the stairs as well.
You too?
Well, yeah, we weren't going to just let some stranger take you away. We followed you.
The trapdoor closes behind you, and you all take a look around and realise that you're pretty much still in the docks district, just on the other side to where you expected to be. In fact, the fight that you would have had is only a couple of streets away from where you were. You remember the man whose face you melted, Rage, is still lying on the floor. You've discovered one of the areas that the liminal nursery exists within, and so far all they've done is offer Rage a great amount of food, drink, comfort, a nice lifestyle, and the opportunity to become an angel.
What's an angel?
Well, my mum always said never trust strangers who offer you angels.
That's a good lesson. Callum, what are you thinking about this?
I am just quite frightened by how easily Rage was indoctored into some sort of cult. It didn't take much convincing at all. She seems pretty good to go ahead with it, you know, just a bit of thought in there, which is quite rare for Rage. So I'm a bit worried about where this is going to go.
I was doing the smart plan, and I
as you
thought
are
if I
stood
pretend...
talking, you can hear something. You can hear the sound of a man walking and another man dragging his feet. Even though you're stood in the open right now and there is a trapdoor below, you realise that maybe it's the guard and the man that you hurt finalising their journey and getting to the trapdoor they were going to, seeing as you went a different way. They're going to see you. Rage, what are you going to do?
What kind of room are we in again?
Right now you are outside of any rooms. The trapdoor that you've opened has brought you outside onto the street. It's effectively what's meant to be connected to a bar. Originally it would have had barrels of beer rolled down it into a kind of bar's basement, but it's been converted into just part of this long network of underground tunnels. So you are just on the street with ramshackled wooden houses around you.
I hide behind a box.
Billy, what are you going to do?
I'm going to cast Minor Illusion to make something that's way more interesting than we are in front of us. So like something scary that's going to be, I don't know, like a small, terrifying dragon-like creature. No, just like something with a lot of teeth.
Like a little tiny basilisk walking around kind of chomping at things.
Yeah.
Callum, what are you going to do?
Are there any, like, benches outside, like seating areas?
There's a couple of dilapidated bits of barrels, but nothing that should be seating.
I jump in a barrel and just pop the top on.
Around the corner, the guard supporting the man that you attacked earlier appears. They see a barrel slightly wobbling, with a lid being put onto it. They see a wooden square crate with someone or something hiding behind it, and then he sees a small baby basilisk, and he does not want to tangle with that. So he simply turns and walks the other way, away into the distance, and then around the corner of a few buildings. You've managed to push him away for the time being. Billy, good thinking. Well done.
Psst, he's gone. You can come out now.
Oh, good. I actually have something for you, Billy. I have compressed word trees, and I hand the books over.
Oh.
Billy, you get handed 3 books by Cal. Grey, bound spines.
I don't think you've ever given me anything before, Callum.
I just don't want to carry it. They are actually really heavy.
Rage, how are you feeling after you've just seen this illusion basilisk scare the guard away?
I'm muted. Well, I'm kind of just used to it at this point. It was either that or turning half invisible. So I'm more interested in like how Billy's like been handed these books, and I'm like, I didn't even think about grabbing something.
You have managed to find both some books, the location of the hideout, and then a flyer that might even advertise what the liminal nursery is. And so far, all they've shown to you is hospitality and the opportunity to become an angel. It might be time to report what you've found back to Henry and see if he's able to give you any more insight into this.
I think we should do a loop round, so maybe we should carry on and then go back to Henry once we get to the other side, just while we're walking through the city to see if there's anything else we can see.
Yeah, I agree. I think a little bit of investigative work as we're heading back, it couldn't go amiss.
Rage, how are you feeling?
I agree.
Are you going to leave the docks district and walk around the city in general?
Yeah, we'll go like a way that we haven't been yet back to Henry's.
The city is extremely busy, and as you are walking around, Rage, it's obvious that you are hurt still. People are looking and you are gently dripping blood as you walk around. Billy, you seem nice and pristine, and Callum, you look normal, so relatively down on your luck, and people are looking at you and trying to avoid you in general. But as you walk around, you're not attracting too much attention from the city. The guards sometimes look over at you and nod as they recognise you as members of the Adventurers Guilds, and then as you look around, you do start to see the symbol for the liminal nursery carved into more and more buildings. Upper-class buildings this time. Nice buildings. Buildings with money and wealth behind them.
That's odd.
Yeah, they're not being very subtle about this. Billy, do you know what the word trees say?
No, but this doesn't make sense, Callum. This is supposed to be on... Well, this is way too high class. Everything's supposed to be on, well, dirtier things, where we've just come from.
Yeah.
This makes no sense for it to be here.
Yeah,
What
no.
are these books you've given me anyway? Can I?
I don't know.
Can I read the covers or the spines?
Oh yeah, go ahead and do your worst with it. I don't know what they are. I just picked them up because I know you can do the reading thing properly.
Can I read one of the spines, or just the spines of the books, just to like see what they are?
It's the spine simply says volume of initiates, and then it's something like 412. This is a long, long book with a lot of names in it.
It's just names, Callum.
Inside the book, a name, and then a number. From what you can tell is 1 to 100, and then a location. The locations all have lovely sounding names. Meadows, waterfall, golden fields. The numbers all seem to start relatively high. 99, 98, some in the 80s, some in the 70s, and then very, very, very few in the low 20s. You can't see any single-digit numbers at all.
That's odd.
I don't know
The
what to
amount of
make of that.
angels that they've doctored into the cult, depending on location.
I mean, maybe.
You would
we
definitely
should,
need someone who understands the book more to be able to decipher it for you.
Maybe there's a library here we can go to. We can ask for some help.
Yeah, that's not a bad
I
idea.
don't understand this.
Pick the right
There is a
person for the
library in the
job.
city of Neverwinter if you wish to travel to it. Although you have taken books from what is clearly a rather powerful cult, whether you want to show the librarian and risk them being a member.
Is the book particularly like arcane-ish, or would
No, you
someone
can't tell
who's
any-
quite clever be able to?
You can't tell any
pick it
magical
out?
energy coming from it right now. All it seems to be is simply a repository of names, numbers, and locations.
Well, I mean, as a smart person, that kind of makes sense. That it's probably the people that they've doctored into this cult. No.
As you're reading over Rage, you see that the last entry into the book, as the latest one that Billy is holding specifically, simply lists Undercity 80, and then a name scribbled that you can't quite read.
Undercity. Guys, it says Undercity here. Like, the place that we were at was definitely under a city, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't in the blue.
I think we need to try and track down one of the members of this book and question them. I think that's the best course of action, because we at least know that then they've been like inducted into this cult.
We could take a hostage! Sorry.
I love all of these ideas. Let's go and check in with Henry. He can keep these books. I don't really want to be caught with these on us. We don't know who is part of this and who isn't.
Yeah,
Brilliant,
I
it's
agree.
a good idea. Are you going to put the books away so you can't be seen?
Yeah, just have them covered under my long skirt.
You put the books away and make your way back through the city, noticing this symbol is popping up more and more on various buildings as you walk through. Eventually you're able to leave out the main gate of the city, turn left and follow the main wall until you can see the small building of the Adventurers Guild outcrop. You can just about see Henry is inside still. You can see through the open door.
As we approach, we knock. I knock.
He simply turns and looks at you. Come in. Right. How's it going so far?
Pretty good, actually. Wasn't expecting to find something so quickly. Rage?
Oh, you found something? Anything we need to worry about, or...?
Well, we don't
Well, I
know
got
yet.
doctored into a cult and then asked if I wanted to be an angel and offered bunches of different foods and pleasantries. And then I asked to leave, and then they did this.
And then as she says this, I also slam the books down for drama
yes,
on the
that
table.
too.
The books have the same symbol on the front of them as has been carved into you. They branded you.
Yeah. Pretty
She's been
cool, right?
marked.
You let them brand you.
Well, if I said no, it would have aroused more suspicion because he was under the influence that I was doctored into it by somebody else.
Billy, was it? You're magical. Can you sense anything magical from that symbol? Is that any kind of brand or archaic thing we need to be worried about?
It's Trixx, and I haven't looked yet. It's a good point, actually. I'm going to put my hand over either side of the symbol and see if I can feel anything from it. Does it feel arcane?
Roll the d20.
3.
You know that it's definitely attempting some level of control, but you don't think this control is going to apply until Rage is essentially dead.
This is some sort of undead spell of some kind. I don't know what. I couldn't tell you, but
Undead
there's something
spell?
going on here.
It's trying to exert a level of control, but as long as you have any level of free will or any level of life force left in you, you'll be able to fight off anything that it tries to do to you.
It's not active yet. You're okay. You're safe.
Are you saying I'm gonna be an angel?
No, but I think I know what that means now. They're raising the dead for whatever reason.
Yeah, it
I don't know what they think angels are.
Get it off, 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 get it off.
The cult's been around for 6 months. We haven't seen any increase in necromancy activity at all.
Well, that makes no sense. The evidence is here.
Right,
It's on her.
Books. What's in the books?
Names, places. Does this mean anything to you? And I
Henry
show
opens the
him
books and-
specifically the Undercity part.
Henry opens the books and reads through them. So we have names of initiates. We have a number from 1 to 100. Any idea what that means?
Potentially the amount of people they've recruited. We don't know.
And then we have a location. 4 or 5 locations. This one here, Undercity. You believe that one's in reference to the underneath Neverwinter?
It's the latest one as well.
Right. Okay. We don't have much to go on here, but you found one of their locations. Is it worth sending city guards down there?
I think it'll arouse suspicion. There's a lot of in and outs happening. We've already seen people try to enter.
Okay, and what happened when you entered?
They didn't know we were there.
Invisibility or
Of course.
fair play? You, Rage. What happened?
Well, I, using my intelligence, I found the hideout, and a man in a robe came to collect me. So we went down, and it was like under the city, literally. Yes, that's why it's called Undercity. And there was like people there, and there was loads of food there, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to be an angel?" And I was like, "Sure." So he led me through like a different hallway. Then there was more food, and then he was like, "You can just hang out here." And then there was a bed with some weights and a punching bag and more food and wine, and he was like, "You just stay here." And I was like, "Well, no, I got my friends out there." And then I left.
But they didn't hurt you.
No, they just branded me.
They branded you and then they offered you food, wine,
Yeah.
and they comfort?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't understand what they're trying to do with this.
And the food got better and better and better the deeper we got in.
So
Almost
there
like
was
they were trying to convince me to
So
carry
there was
on.
almost a level of quality to the existence.
Yeah.
I see. Right. I think we need to meet someone that works for this liminal nursery. Work out exactly what it is they're offering people and why people are accepting it, although if it's food, and I can understand, and then work out what this be an angel business means, and what that rune was they carved into you. We know that there's definitely a location under the city, but they're probably going to be looking out for that one more. I would suggest you travel to a couple of the local villages. This thing seems to have spread to them. They won't know your faces and they won't know to look for you, and it might be worth trying to infiltrate them as new members.
That sounds like a plan to me.
How many villages are there?
Locally, I can find out for you. If you head to the east, following the main river, you'll definitely pop up along. There's lots of different settlements out there. Some are older than others, some are larger, some are new. People travel into the woods and the mountains and try and make livings all the time, but follow the river to the east and see what you can find.
Very well. Also, something else we did notice, it's not just on the lower societies. The symbol is appearing everywhere.
It's got through to the temple district.
Yeah, rich people be doing
Right.
cult
So
things.
whatever
now,
the liminal
apparently.
nursery are offering or doing, they're now affecting both those with money and those without money. We need to understand what it is they want. You can either stay in the city and attempt to blend in. We can maybe get you some disguises and have you hang around the richer districts and see if they would attract any attention that way. Or you can travel to one of the local villages and see if you can infiltrate it from there into a smaller cell. What do you want to do?
Oh, and also the whole guard is corrupt as well. We forgot about that tiny
What?
little detail. Yeah. Billy. I just nudged Billy to.
Yeah, that was the last thing. Some of the guards, well, we don't know. One of the guards, that's who we saw going in and out.
The City Guard of Neverwinter don't answer to the Adventurers Guild, and we don't answer to them. We're completely independent, and if it turns out that anyone within the City Guard has been compromised by this liminal nursery, then we're going to have to assume they've all been compromised. So we act independently, and we act covertly from now on. Is that agreed?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Right. Now, I can get you rich-looking clothes and have you hang around the richer districts. You can ask questions. If this group has infiltrated the moneyed individuals or higher society, then talking about them will be a little bit safer higher up. Cults do tend to approach those with money. Or you can travel to the local village and try and infiltrate from there. They won't know your face at all. It's your choice.
I think it's probably best we go to the local villages, just in case.
Yeah, I
Easy to
think
handle.
that sounds like a good plan. I've just had a thought, Billy. So I've been thinking about the entries in that diary.
Yeah.
And because these numbers aren't in order and only seem to go up to roughly like 80 or 100, could they possibly be ages of people rather than like numbers of indoctored people into the cult?
Ages.
Yeah, they're not in order.
What's the
and
lowest?
The lowest, as you look through the book, seems to be about 15, and the highest seems to be 100.
Yeah, if we look at the number of books, we're on volume, 300 and something? There's no way it would have only counted up to less than 100 in 300 volumes, right? Even if there was one person per book, it still would be higher than 100.
The way the book is laid out is name of person, number, and then location.
Yeah, I don't think these are the number in which they were dragged into the cult. It wouldn't make sense.
Oh. So you saying there's kids at stake here?
I think possibly. And
Oh.
with it being volume 300, there could be a lot of kids being dragged into this.
I guess we'll find out
Most of
more.
the numbers are between 20 and 30. Some of them are much higher in the 80s, 90s to 100s, but nothing below 10 that you've seen.
Hmm.
Well, nothing below 15.
Are there any
Yeah.
Timmies?
There is no one, thankfully, you can see called Timmy in this book.
That's a good sign. We'll make sure that happens.
Yeah.
Henry is nodding over at all of you. So, head east. I can get you supplies for 3 or 4 days' ride. Your horses are still there. Try and find one of the local villages. Find any of the symbol, ask questions, and get yourself ingratiated into the liminal nursery. We need to know what the hell they're actually doing with people.
We can do that.
Yeah.
We're born for this.
Have you got any worse clothes? I don't really fit in.
Worse clothes.
Well,
She's a
yeah.
bit flashy.
Look
Henry
at me.
walks over to a trunk on the floor, pops open this big heavy oak wood, and pulls out a couple of blue, grey, green, silver drabs, holds them up. We normally wear these when we have to blend in with crowds, so one of them should fit you. He simply hands over a lump of clothes to you.
That silver
kind
is
of-
definitely your colour.
I take something that looks potentially like a cloak, and
It's a
yeah, just something.
drab. It's a drab, grey-green colour.
Yeah, I just take that and kind of like put it over myself so I don't look so flashy.
You manage to cover up most of what you're wearing, and you just look like a regular commoner walking around the city now. Henry steps back. So, 3 days. That's as long as it should take you to at least find one village, meet someone, and then report back here. In 4 days, if I don't hear from you, I will come and look for you. That sound fair?
Sounds fair to me.
Please.
It's more than
Right.
anyone's done for us.
Find out what the hell the liminal nursery are up to. If they're this big and they've infected Neverwinter as deeply as they have, including the city guard, we may need to act quicker than we anticipated. Good luck.
Thank
You
you.
too.
Henry returns to writing on his desk. Rage, you'll need to spend a few days travelling east, attempting to find one of the local villages ideally connected to the river or the waterways. This cult, this group, the liminal nursery, whatever it is they want, has spread beyond the city. You've got the books, but you don't know exactly what they were for. Billy, you haven't read through the pamphlet that you've got yet, the advert. You'll be able to show that to Henry in a second. And Callum, you realise
Yes.
that the city guard may have been corrupted by whatever this cult want as well. Or
Yeah.
at least enough members of the guard are that you don't know who to trust. How are you feeling about this, Cal?
I'm a bit unsettled. The thought that kids are involved in this, and it could potentially be like some sort of front for a more extreme cult. Not too happy about it, but I'm now more motivated than ever to try and get to the bottom of this mystery.
Billy, you've got this little advert, this pamphlet. If you want, you can try and read it.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it out and like flatten it out on his table because I kind of ruffled it up a bit.
You can't make out all the words. It's mostly gibberish, but you can make out a couple of things. It's talking about being something beyond this life. It's talking about the idea that life itself is a transition from A to B, and when we finally shake off this mortal coil, we become something greater than ourselves. And by talking to these people, the Liminal Nursery, you'll be able to become the greatest version of you, because they know exactly how to help you after you've died.
This is an after party I don't want to join.
Billy, do you believe if you were to travel to the east and meet someone, you'd be able to try and talk your way into this cult?
I hope so. That's what we're going to try and do.
The Liminal Nursery are a group of people who effectively believe that something happens after death that's important, and they're willing to look after you, to make sure that you live a certain lifestyle up until your exact moment of death, to make sure you become an angel. Maybe they want to make sure you have a lovely life. Who knows? But you need to get into this cult, and you need to work out what the darker, insidious side of them actually wants. Rage, are you ready to journey to the east?
Yes.
Billy, are you ready?
Yeah, I hand the horses back to the guys because I can't do my nuts.
Callum, are you ready to journey to the east?
Oh, I'm ready. I'm totally ready.
You'll need to find a local village. You'll need to ask someone about the Liminal Nursery. You'll need to meet someone who knows about them, and then you'll need to try and get into the cult, hopefully staying safe while discovering exactly what it is that they want. And that journey to the village will continue next week, seeing as this has taken us almost 2 hours to get to where we are now. Rage, how are you feeling about whatever it was that you discovered under the streets of Neverwinter?
At first I was excited, and then I was scared. I was gonna come back to the guy to see like what would happen if he picked me back up, but now knowing it's something to do with raising the undead, I want as far away as possible as I can. So,
Billy, how are you feeling? Knowing that you need to infiltrate this cult, and this cult clearly has something to do with lifestyle and then death.
I'm just hoping that we can fly under the radar and get into this place. Stealth is not known as our strong suit, so it's something that I am a bit hesitant about, but I think we're going into somewhere that is a bit more comfortable for Rage and Callum, and I'm hoping that this allows us an extra edge compared to going to the wealthier district.
And Cal, how are you feeling about whatever this cult wants? They seem to be offering people a lovely lifestyle in exchange for a small runic brand on your arm.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I've dealt with many a cult in my time. I've dealt with the cult of the Second Earth, the Cabal of Shadows, and they always offer something that you can't find elsewhere. And it usually leads down a dark path, so I am more than ready to take this on.
Excellent. Although we normally do episodic adventures, next week we will continue the adventure for the discovery of the Liminal Nursery. You will find who they are, what they want, what they're doing to people, what the numbers mean, what the names mean, what the locations mean, and why it may be worth stopping them. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us for this episode of Session Zero. We look forward to seeing you all next week. The episodes will be up on YouTube. Rage, are we uploading episodes to YouTube still?
yes, we are.
Excellent. And what YouTube channel is that? Is it just Session Zero?
Session Zero SZ, same with our Twitch and our Twitter and our Instagram.
And
Fantastic.
Spotify,
And
which is now available.
And thanks to Billy, you're now able to listen to all of these in podcast format over on Spotify.
Yeah, Billy, good job.
Yeah, thanks,
Excellent.
thanks
We're
me.
looking forward to that. Right, ladies and gents, thank you very much for joining us. We will see you all next week. Callum, any final words before we head off?
Yeah, thank you everybody for watching. I hope you enjoy a tech issue free stream.
Woo!
And,
Go on, Callum. Look, can we have some hype in chat, please, for Callum? Actually, just sorting all the tech
no
out.
Tech
Clap,
issue.
clap,
The
clap.
little
The
bit
no
of lag,
tech
but you know what? We
issues.
kept
Hell
it.
yeah.
We did it well.
Yes,
and
get them
proud of that.
applause going. That's
Right.
it, chat.
Ladies and gents, thank you very much for hanging out with us. We will see you next week. We have been Session Zero. Take care, good night, and God bless.
Bye.